There are a plenty lot of people who are pending to join, right?
We can start in 2 minutes.
Okay, okay. I'll be waiting for next 4 minutes. Let everyone join in, then we shall start up. Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so has everyone joined? Hello.
Yes, I guess we can start.
Okay, okay, all right.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. We CSI CRC are proud to present a workshop for today, diving into the secrets of pen testing, ethical hacking, and cybersecurity. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Shivamar Roy, who is going to introduce and explain us the various aspects of the cyber world. Mr. Shivamar Roy is the founder and CEO of Abney Security. Abney Security is a company that has its roots into the cybersecurity and also diverses into the different sectors of the IT industry. Mr. Roy has received his network security specialist certificate from ICSI UK. He is a certified network security specialist, Net Network Security Associate, and NSE 2 Network Security Expert. He has received Hall of Fame in uh, Microsoft and Sony. Best Startup Project of the Year from TISL and ESL St. Xavier's, and has received various recommendation and appreciation letters from many other companies and IT services. Mr. Roy trains students, provides them with the world-class training with real hands-on over websites along with cybersecurity solutions to other companies. So we gladly invite you to share your knowledge and guidance with us, which would really inspire, enlighten, and guide us all towards a successful future. So you may take over from here.
Thank you for the heartwarming introduction, first of all. Okay, so if let us start before getting into all of these particular sectors. Let us start, and before starting, I would like to ask everyone, when all of you guys joined this particular webinar, what was your expectation? Seeing something live or seeing something like whatever happens all around the world in dummy situations and all of these things? Seeing something live is something that all of you guys are interested. I want responses. Please unmute yourself and please respond.
Yes.
Others? Okay, so we have very low responses, I guess. Okay, so let us make a proper introduction, then we can begin the entire particular phase itself. So I'm sharing my screen, and please let me know if my screen is visible to all of you guys. All right? Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So first of all, everyone, welcome to Apple Security. And Apple Security is specifically a company. Welcome everyone from St. Fragnall's College, Father Fragnall's College. And Apple Security is a company which has its roots. How I started my journey into this particular field over 10 years back. Today, at this present moment, we are going to look into certain sectors which would be amazing for you to look at. And I can assure that everyone would be liking it. I think everyone would be liking it. So, what are those sectors? What we are going to learn is something that we would soon be covering up. But before that, first, we need to understand what exactly cybersecurity is all about. So whenever we are dealing with cybersecurity or any terminologies which are coined with cybersecurity revolves around the single word that is known as ethical hacking. Uh, when I was basically in my school days, जब मैं एक school student हुआ करता था, when I used to tell my father that yes, I am interested in these particular sectors, so people had this sort of mindset at that particular moment that there can be nothing ethical about hacking, nothing. So whenever you are dealing or whenever you are coining the term hacking, even if ethical word is used or unethical word is used, no matter whatever is used, is going to be used for criminal purposes. But that is not exactly true. That was the mindset of generations, previous generations. Currently, the mindset is changing, and it is changing because cybersecurity risks, threats, criminal activities, and everything are evolving day by day. And in this particular session, we are not going to learn certain areas about cybersecurity, but we are also going to deep dive into live practical hacking as well, legal ones, definitely, of course. So welcome everyone to Apple Security. So this is me, Mr. Shubhamar Roy. I am the director and founder of Apple Security. So I am basically an ethical hacker. My humble belongings and my backgrounds didn't started with that of as an the cybersecurity professional. I started my journey from that of an MBBS student itself. I was pursuing for medical background. Even my entire family is from medical background itself. But for the sake of passion, I left MBBS and I went into engineering. Then I left engineering, graduated from engineering. Within cybersecurity, I was in my field for like a lot of years. Let's say 10 to 12 years. I have been into cybersecurity since I started my journey into that. So I am an ethical hacker and I'm the director of Apple Security. So I have been acknowledged previously as well as at this present moment as well through multi-top national domains including Microsoft, Sony, Dell, Mastercard, Bitdefender, and multiple other organizations. If you Google my name up like Shubham Roy Space Hacker, you would know my details and everything as, as well as multiple other companies for hacking them, for discovering critical security vulnerabilities in them, for reporting them over the past years itself. At this present moment, our team provides cybersecurity solutions to multiple foreign offshore companies, including USA, UK, Canada, Brazil, then Germany, and multiple other companies. Our team in Abra Security not only provides this offshore solutions, but we also provide corporate level training as well as training dedicated to students as well as intermediates as well as to cybersecurity professionals, people who are already working into the cybersecurity industry for like past 2 to 17 years. We also train them and they get higher. So if you search about us, Apno Security in LinkedIn, you would get to see. As well as people, we also train people about bug bounty. We also train people about things which the students of ours earns a lot of money. The right by sitting at home through their freelance careers into cybersecurity as well. So we have the same exact motive to make the world a better place by dealing with cybersecurity, to train people on cybersecurity, to deal with knowledge on cybersecurity, as well as to protect companies, foreign companies, as well as all sorts of companies from being hacked at any particular point of time. The reason is it is going to take for a general businessman or even for a business to grow up, it is going to take over 20 years to build a good reputation within the entire market, within the entire world market and everything. Even if you go for the Indian market, it's going to take at least 20 years or 50 to 20 years to build a reputation. And within 2 hours of a cyber attack, the entire reputation is going to go down. If you see the case studies of that of MobiWik, of that of McDonald's, and of different other companies, you would be able to see that companies which holds a very big reputation got down. Their reputation was damaged within the few couple of hours itself. MobiWik's entire details, datas, and everything was breached. Everything was released. KYC details of all of its customers. No, whenever this particular thing happens, the customer base loses its trust from the companies. So, now, companies at this particular point find it very hard to regain back that self consciousness. Plus, they get imposed with multiple lot of fines from the government. That becomes very hard for a company to deal with and to overcome. To prevent all of these things from happening, it is the job of cybersecurity solutions and it is the job of cybersecurity professionals. Provide them with solutions so that these risks doesn't get exploited out in the wild right in the first place itself. And that is exactly what we do after security. So basically, if I'm talking about topics that we are going to learn today, we are going to learn first about cybersecurity, its carriers, and why exactly is its carrier a very hot topic at this present moment in the entire industry. That's the first topic that we are going to come across today. Then we are going to get our hands into real life pen testing, real life hacking. Then we are going to go into detection, exploitation, and proof of concepts. So the first thing that we are going to discuss is cybersecurity, its areas of how, why, and how exactly its areas is a very hot topic in the present market. Then the rest of the most of the part of this webinar is going to be on live hacking itself. So now again, I'm asking, how many of you guys are interested to see live hacking? Please unmute your mic and respond yourself, or raise your hand. Better raise your hand.
Yes, sir.
2 candidates and 11, 18, 29 and 30, 32. हम लोग के पास 59 कैंडिडेट्स है, बस 32 इंटरेस्टेड है, और कहाँ गए? 34 and 35. All right. So we have a lot of candidates. All right. So slowly and gradually we will be progressing further on this entire particular topic itself. So let us start at this present moment. So cybersecurity and its career, why exactly its career is a very hot topic. So whenever we are dealing with cybersecurity, we need to know the very first thing. The thing is, the entire part of cybersecurity revolves around. So when you have seen someone is giving an interview, but maybe some criminal organizations have done something, as well as a result of which people are interviewing certain cybersecurity professionals. When older generation people look up to those particular people, they gain a sort of trust. But when they get to know that they are nothing other than ethical hackers, they lose the trust. The reason is the word hacking has been used in such a manner, has been manipulated in such a manner when we rest of the world in the previous generations, that people think hacking can only be used for malicious purposes. Now the thing is opposite. A cybersecurity professional can never become a cybersecurity professional if he knows nothing about hacking. He needs to know things about hacking and he needs to be very good at it. Only then he can become a good cybersecurity professional, whatever you say in the current market itself. Now, as you know, knowledge is power. So penetration testing is a power, or hacking is a power. Penetration testing is a polished word to coin the exact terminology of hacking itself. So hacking is a power. Hacking is a knowledge. You can either use the knowledge for good purposes, or you can use the exact same knowledge for bad purposes. Now, let me tell you, at this present moment, at this present generation, it's very hard for you to use the same exact knowledge for bad purposes, because chances are very low that you might be earning something, and chances are very high that you would be landing into jail without zero profit of yours. Back in the time when I started my journey back in 2011, 12, something around that, back in those time, there were very few scopes in cybersecurity, very few industries, very few jobs in India, nothing, almost nothing, and very few people who used to venture inside cybersecurity. We didn't had any sort of courses, no, almost very few colleges. I guess College of Gujarat Forensics only used to teach about cybersecurity. Other than that, no colleges used to teach about cybersecurity, and that was a crisis back then. So most of the people, what they used to do is they used to venture out into the black hat scenario or into the illegal scenario. And that is how people used to grow up. At this present moment, since there are plenty lot of resources and plenty lot of monitoring also available, so what happens is it's very hard for you to get into the black hat zone right on the first instance itself. Even if you try, it's going to be very hard for you. Plus, earning money through black hat is far more tougher than earning money through legal fees. Why exactly and how exactly? You would get to know soon when we come across certain topics within the session itself. So at this present moment, cybersecurity has a very good career. And not only on this present moment, it is going to continue for the next 10 to 12 years. After that, things are going to become stagnant because India's population is going to grow. We already have a huge population. India's population is going to grow. Plus, a lot of people are getting into cybersecurity at this present moment. In the upcoming days, more will grow. The reason why people are getting into cybersecurity is because there are a demand of jobs. But at that particular moment, after 10 to 12 years, the scope would become very less. As a result, the career would become stagnant. So as a result, all the candidates who are preparing themselves up and they are getting into cybersecurity right at this particular point would have their entire life settled directly on the first instance itself. And cybersecurity is a hot career. Why exactly it is, we would get to know right now. So these are the corporate career pathways. First of all, before discussing any of these pathways or careers or anything, let me tell all of you guys this, that whenever we are dealing with cybersecurity, we are dealing with data, we are dealing with information, we are dealing with very critical information. That's the very first thing. You need to know how to deal with data, and you need to know how to deal with data in a safe and a secure manner. How to exfiltrate data, how to prevent data from exfiltration as well. So all of these things comes up. So before 2020, what used to happen is we didn't had lockdown, we didn't had corona, nothing. Life was going fine for everyone. Once the lockdown began, not only the present generation, like previously present generation, like hum log, maybe people below 30, only used to get attached to the mobile itself. उन लोग को छोड़ के बाकी सारे लोग जो थोड़ा एजेड है, they never used to get attached to the mobiles. They had their own life sorted out. But since lockdown began, every particular person started clinging to their mobiles or laptops or tablets or anything, all of these particular things to get a company. Because this was the only sort of entertainment that they used to get while sitting in their homes in lockdown. Now, at this present moment, when the entire nation is getting clinged up into the mobile phase, into the tablet, and into the entire digitalized zone, where main digitalization happened all across the country, specifically in the lockdown phase itself, cyber criminals also started taking advantage of this very specific situation. Why? Because they know this is a hot market at this present moment for them. They can target almost anyone because every particular person is clinged up. And it is very hard for a cyber criminal to fool a young candidate, but it is very easy for a cyber criminal to fool a candidate or fool a person who is in his middle age or who is in his old age. It starting from phishing scams to like call center scams or calling up someone, asking them their CVV and all of these things. These things can be done with old age candidates. And as at this present moment, since people are clinged up within this particular sectors, all sorts of people, be it old generation, be it new generation, everyone, it becomes very easy and a hot market for the cyber criminals to target. Not only this, the scam is a separate thing, hacking is a separate thing. Scams and hackings are never like identical things. Scams can be performed by almost any particular person with a criminal motive. Hacking can be performed only with persons, not only with a criminal motive, but who also possesses that sort of extra level of knowledge, far more extraordinary than compared to that of a very ordinary person. So, who is a hacker? A person who can develop shortcut techniques to do a very big thing in a very short manner can be coined as a hacker. So, once you get in as a cybersecurity in the cybersecurity phase itself, since the lockdown happened, the criminal activities started rising, सब कुछ बढ़ गया, and everything happened, and the jobs also started increasing. So, since lockdown, two industries emerged. The first industry was pharmaceutical industry. Since lockdown, that was the very first thing that emerged. Uske baad, the next industry that emerged is the cybersecurity industry. At this present moment, these two industries are stagnant and are going up exponentially. After let's say 1 year, जब कोरोना का पूरा किस्सा खत्म हो जाएगा, the situation of this entire pharmaceutical industry is going to go back to the normal phase itself. जैसे था वैसे चला जाएगा. But the situation of this cybersecurity industry is never going to go down. Never ever. After 10 to 12 years, then it might go down. But before that, it's not going to go down. So that is something that is going to go on. And at this present moment, all of you guys, if you guys get to settle up your careers at this present moment, it is going to help all of you guys to get in. So discussing about the present scenario of cybersecurity industry, when you get in after, let's say you complete your entire graduation and everything, then when you get in, you have two zones. You can get in into the defensive side of the cybersecurity, or you can get into the offensive side into the cybersecurity. Now let us start with the defensive side. So if you start in into the defensive side, the very first role that you get is SOC analyst, where the entire part is about monitoring about threats, monitoring about firewalls, what are the incoming traffics about firewalls, if someone is trying to hack into the entire system or not. All of these things are dealt with in the as a role of SOC analyst. Now, as a fresher, you can get in definitely as a SOC analyst, and the average salary that you would be getting is going to be within 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Sometimes even it might be a bit more than that as well, maybe 5 lakhs or 5.5 max to max. But this is the average salary in the India, and specifically when I'm talking about salaries over here, I'm talking specifically about India, not about foreign nations. So the very first thing is when you are getting it as a fresher, as a SOC analyst in the defensive phase, you get a salary of let's say the 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs per annum per year, and your in responsibilities involves revolves around incident response, threat monitoring, these and that, all of these things. Then after gaining a 1 year experience into this defensive side, then you can get in as a cybersecurity analyst. Now, let me coin this. This is not mandatory for you to get an experience into SOC analyst. No, you can get in as a cybersecurity analyst as a fresher as well. Now, the defensive zone ended right over here only. From here onwards, the offensive zone starts up. Offensives, including some sort of defensive, but the level of defensive part is within the SOC part only. So in the offensive side, the very first thing, the very first role of a cybersecurity professional that comes up is a cybersecurity analyst. So you can get in as a fresher or as a 1 year experience candidate. And there are multiple roles of that of a cybersecurity analyst. Like from promotion, you would be getting from one thing to another thing to another thing to something other than that. So it starts with an associate security analyst, then it goes into cybersecurity analyst, then it goes into senior security analyst. These are the three roles. Now the range of salary that you get as a fresher or as a experienced candidate, you would be getting a range around 3.5 to 9 lakhs per annum as a cybersecurity analyst. 9 lakhs if you are very senior. Now, do not take the entire thing as a fixed note. Like these are average counts that I'm saying. I personally know people. I personally have colleagues of mine who are earning over 50 lakhs, 50 lakhs per year as a cybersecurity analyst itself. Now, this entire role of cybersecurity industries develops and determines and gets pushed up by the level of skills of a very specific candidate. If a skills of a very specific candidate is such कि company उसको छोड़ ही नहीं सकता, the company उसको ज़्यादा पैसा देगा definitely, and they would try to keep that particular person, and that is something that happens every time. That has been happening in the past scenarios as well. That is going to happen in the future scenarios as well. It's going to happen all of the time. So as a cyber security analyst, you would be getting promotions into three different sectors: associate security analyst, senior security analyst. Then after you gain an experience of let's say 2 years, like 1 year in SOC, 1 year in cybersecurity analyst, or 2 years in cybersecurity analyst, whatever that might be. Then comes the role of that of a cybersecurity consultant. Now again, note this: you as a fresher can also get in as a cybersecurity consultant if you have that sort of specific skill set. You can also get in as a cybersecurity consultant. I personally, when I got into job in the previous years itself, right now, like building up a specific company from my own end. When I was in the job, I directly got in as a cybersecurity consultant itself. So yes, you cybersecurity consultant either as a fresher or as a 2 years experience candidate, and the range of salary that varies. Average range of salary is between 6 lakhs yearly to 16 lakhs yearly. Now again, this is not a fixed value. I have seen a plenty lot of people. I know personally a plenty lot of people. Even I, as an example, I was earning more bigger than what exactly I have quoted right over here. So yes, that doesn't matter entirely. The entire matter is upon skills. But when I'm quoting this entire part of the range, I'm terming the average range, which is provided to almost all of the average candidates in India: 6 lakhs to 16 lakhs. And there are three roles. So before getting into cybersecurity consultant, we are dealing with this phase of cybersecurity analyst. You report. That is exactly your role. To hack them, to find, exploit them, find vulnerability, report them. That is exactly the role of that of a cybersecurity analyst. Now, when you get into the role of a cybersecurity consultant, your role becomes a bit higher, more elaborate. So it involves all of the roles of that of a cybersecurity analyst plus of that of a cybersecurity consultant. So what do I mean by that is you would not only be finding the vulnerabilities, exploiting them and reporting them, but you would also contact with the client and you would be describing them that this is basically the issue and you need to mitigate this. And you would be giving maybe some short tips and these and that, and it is going to get patched up. All right. So that is the role of that of a cybersecurity consultant. So yes, definitely you need to talk with people. You need to have that sort of skills. Then after 2 years of experience into this, then you land into cybersecurity architect. And again, I'm saying you can land from directly as that of a cybersecurity analyst to that of a cybersecurity architect. If a company is hiring on that specific position, that depends upon various specific parameters, various specific requirements. Depends upon the company, depends upon many particular parts itself. So cybersecurity architect. Now you can get in as a cybersecurity architect with 2 to 5 years of experience. And the range of salary that you would be getting is basically 8 lakhs to 22 lakhs yearly per annum. And the roles of a cybersecurity architect would revolve not only around this particular architecture part, but also it would revolve around all the responsibilities of that of a cybersecurity analyst, of that of a cybersecurity consultant, and as that of a architect. So you would be finding vulnerabilities, reporting them, you would be consulting with the client sector, plus you would also be involved in designing secure system, hunting threats and completely mitigating those secure system. Firstly, over your own company side, then onto the side of the client side. Like if there is a company, if the company is dealing with something, then you would also be reporting that, and you would also be designing a secure system for that particular third party company as well. After all of these gets done, then the final thing that gets landed up is specifically cybersecurity manager or as a CISO. So cybersecurity manager क्या है and CISO क्या है? These two are not same thing. Definitely not same thing. There might be multiple cybersecurity managers in a specific company, but there is only a single CISO or CISO in a company. CISO is something like CEO होता है, CTO होता है, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Technical Officer, similar to that Chief Information Security Officer. That is known as CISO. And there is going to be only one CISO in a company. So competition is very hard, definitely. Within the entire cybersecurity phase, competition is going to be very hard to get yourself landed as a CISO itself. For that of a cybersecurity manager, still competition is present, but not that hard compared to that of a CISO. But yes, if you have skills, if you have learned something nice, you would be getting it. So with a range of 4 to 6 years of experience, you can get in as a cybersecurity manager or as a CISO. With 6 years of experience, directly you can get in as a CISO. And that is a very high position in cybersecurity. Very like one of the topmost positions in cybersecurity as a CISO. Now, you would be earning a range of salary between 20 lakhs per annum to over 1 crore per annum. I have written 1 crore. I know personally a lot of candidates who are earning much over than 1 crore. Now, definitely that depends upon what kind of company it is, what are the services it is providing, how big the company is, how bigger the salary structure is, what exactly is its budget and everything. It depends upon all of these specific sectors at every particular point of time. But as a cybersecurity manager and that of a CISO, cybersecurity manager would have less salary compared to that of a CISO. And there might be multiple cybersecurity managers for a specific company, but there is going to be a single CISO in the specific company. Now, the roles of that of a cybersecurity manager or the CISO revolves around this that they need to create security roadmaps. Security roadmaps that cybersecurity analyst, SOC analyst, cybersecurity consultant, cybersecurity architect, all of them would be following. Are roadmaps which all of them would be following, and that is going to be their daily routine. There's the first thing. How they need to report, they need to design the entire infrastructure. That's the first thing. The second thing is they would be negotiating contracts with other companies. Like for example, I am from XYZ company. I am dealing with a foreign company. So I need to deal with contracts. I would be talking about how much budget should be accumulated, how much budget should be given to this very specific projects and all of these particular things. Plus, they would also be handling vendors. So vendors are third-party organizations from which they are getting the services or they are providing services, all of these. Plus, they would also be handling the internal team. So responsibilities of that of a cybersecurity manager or that of a CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, is very huge, as well as the salary structure is also very huge. And as you saw, within within 6 years of experience, you can expect, if you have very good skills, you can expect very high salary, over 1 to 2 crores, something like that, yearly basis. If you do not have that sort of very great skills, still you can expect a salary range between 20 to 30 LPA, definitely 30 lakhs. So yes, within a very short span of time, you can progress much higher. And in the cyber security phase, the learning curve is very high. So there is no sort of what do you say, like no sort of degradation. You are the entire curve is going to go in the up scenario, in exponential scenario. Not only the learning curve, but also the salary curve. कितना आपको salary मिल रहा है, कितना आपको fees of learning and everything. All of these particular things comes up and it is unlimited. There is no limit of learning curve or anything. And within the short span of time, you can secure a very good future for yourself, for your family, and everything. So that is the reason cybersecurity is a hot topic. And at this present moment, all those people who are securing their careers in cybersecurity, they are one of the most fortunate candidates in this entire century, because they are securing not only a very good salary, they are not only securing a very good learning phase, but they are securing assets which would be proven valuable for the rest of their generations as well. The entire salary structure and everything, all of these particular phases itself. Now, if you are trying to get your first job into cybersecurity, what I said previously as well, there are certain skills required for you to get jobs, and there are certain jobs available for that of a fresher. Not every job is available for that of a fresher. So, what are the jobs that are available? The first thing that is available is of that of a SOC analyst. So, who is an SOC analyst? As we discussed in the previous instances itself, SOC analysis deals with things that are going to be within the defensive side. तो काम क्या होगा? Threat identification, threat monitoring, SIEM, SOC curator. Now, when I'm terming these particular keywords, it might seem Hebrew to all of you guys. Hebrew lag sakta hai. Yes, and that is very natural. But these are open source knowledges. If you search in Google, you are going to get all of these knowledges, and it's going to be very easy for you to get all of these knowledges itself. So you need to have knowledge in threat identification, threat monitoring, SIEM, SOC, curator, and certain other tools. You need to know how to handle all of these tools. And yes, once you possess all of these knowledges, then if you apply into SOC analyst, it's very easy for you to get in as a SOC analyst. Now, for that of a fresher, if you choose the defensive side, definitely you can get in. That of if I'm going into the offensive side, cybersecurity analyst is also available as a fresher that we saw in the previous slide itself. What are the qualities that you need to have? What are the prerequisites that you need to have? The first is you need to have strong knowledge in application security, as well as you need to have network security, knowledge about network security. So both of these things, you need to know how to find vulnerabilities in applications, be it web applications, mobile applications, Android, all of these things. So you need to have a good hold or even intermediate hold of knowledge regarding these very specific roles. Now coming to the third sector, cybersecurity consultant. So again, all of the things that were prerequisites as that of a cybersecurity analyst, you need to have strong knowledge in application security, network security. Plus, you need to have a bit of idea about red teaming, how to review codes, secure code review, how to find vulnerabilities from by seeing snippets of codes. Plus, you also need to have very good communication skills, because you would be using that to hold up bargains with your clients by representing your company from your end, and you would be the one who is going to be responsible for all of those parts. All right. So, from that of a cybersecurity consultant, all of these necessities, prerequisites are important for you to get in directly. So yes, you can get in your job as a be it in the defensive zone or in the offensive zone in any particular sectors. And again, make sure whatever I discussed over here in this particular slide itself, it's specifically about India, not about foreign nations. What happens in foreign nations is in India, the best part is you can either choose your role as a defensive zone or into the offensive zone, anything that you prefer. But in the foreign sectors, be it like USA, UK, Canada, wherever you choose, it is going to be very hard for you to get into the offensive zone as a fresher. Almost there are no scopes. The reason is people need to get into the defensive side first, and that is a very mandatory thing for them in foreign sectors, be it UK, USA, Germany, Canada, wherever you look at. People need to have more than 6 years of experience into the defensive sector, mostly within the SOC phase only. After that, when you have that sort of experience, then you can move into the offensive sector. So you need to have strong knowledge and experience into the defensive sector. Then only you can get into the offensive sector. Otherwise, not. So all of these things comes up whenever we are dealing with all of these particular stuffs itself. So specifically, whatever I discussed about is specifically for India. Now, when we are talking about careers, is it only careers that revolves around, okay, I need to get a job, या फिर मेरे को job करना है, कुछ करना है? No, it's not like that. You can also get into freelance careers as well. So there are a lot of people who come up to us. They are doing job as a developer or as a software engineer or something else, and they also want to get into cybersecurity. They also get into this phases of cybersecurity, and they want to earn from cybersecurity as well. And that is where the freelance career comes in. Now, there are two parts of freelance career. One is bug bounty hunting, and the second is freelance security consultant. Now, can anyone tell me what exactly is bug bounty hunting? Anyone has an idea? Please unmute your mic. If anyone has an idea, please unmute your mic and please speak up.
A bug bounty is like when we could, when company gives the access and we have to basically tell the vulnerabilities in their system.
Okay, your name, please.
Aditya.
Okay, Aditya Vyas. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. According to Aditya,
Yes, your name, please.
Yes, my name is Santo, sir.
Okay, yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah. When a company releases some app or some application, they want to know if any bugs or any issues are there in their app. So they host a website or something where hackers or cyber security pips can analyze all those bugs and find out.
Okay. Anyone else? Or koi hai? Anyone else wants to speak up? Any ideas about bug bounty apart from Aditya and Sandu? All right. Apart from this, how many of you guys have heard about this word bug bounty? Raise your hand, please. Two candidates and 6 and 9 and 16. Okay, so we have a lot of candidates who have heard the term bug bounty. All right, raise your hand down. Turn your hand down. All right. So that is the first phase of bug bounty hunting. The second phase is of that of a freelance security consultant. Now, before getting into the first thing, let us go into the second thing first. What exactly is that of a freelance security consultant? So freelance security consultant are basically persons. Let's say there is, let's say Aditya. After attending this entire session, Aditya learned a bit about security. He understood, he found certain vulnerabilities. And at this present moment, what Aditya did is there are multiple freelancing organizations like Freelancer, Upwork, then Workana. There are a lot of freelancing websites. He made his profile as a freelance security consultant that yes, I provide the services of that of a cybersecurity consultant, and you bring your company to me, you give your projects, and I'll be doing the work for you. Now, what happens is there are multiple companies out there in the wild which has less budget. उतना budget नहीं होता. So what they do is instead of giving the entire role of penetration testing to a very specific company, what they do is they give the entire project to a specific individual. जैसे क्या होता है, उन लोग का पैसा बच जाता है. Their entire budget gets decreased up, as well as they also get the work done. The difference is they would not be getting that sort of high quality work, but yes, definitely they would be getting a work. And whenever we are dealing with freelance security consultant, maybe a particular individual would be getting something around 5,000 to 4,000 or $5,000. Now, as an individual, 4,000 to $5,000 is, as an Indian as well, is not a small amount. It's a very big amount. But if I'm talking about a company, like for let's say we in Apple Security, whenever we provide solutions to other companies, $4,000 to $5,000 is very less. Deals, I cannot tell you the exact amount, but I'm telling you the range. Whenever we hold up deals happens between the starting range of deals happens between $20,000. That's the starting range, $20,000, and it goes on to a higher large of extent, 20 to 50 to $70,000. Yes. So these are like projects that we deal with. So similar to that, whenever new organizations, foreign organizations, or any organizations, be it Indian organizations or anything, Indian organizations do not care that much about cybersecurity right in the first instance till they get hacked. That is the exact truth itself. सुनने में बुरा लगता है, but that is the truth. But foreign organizations, they have that sort of government policies that yes, you need to have this sort of security policies because you have these GDPR rules and everything like this. In India, we only have the PCI compliance, where you cannot store credit card details and these and that and all of these particular things. So yes, in foreign nations, it's mandatory. Like one in Netherlands, it's mandatory for every particular website to be checked within cybersecurity particular part itself. So organizations goes to a particular individual, tells them, okay, I'm giving you this particular project of mine, you do it. You hack my entire website, and you then tell me what exactly can be done. And then I'm going to pay you this particular sort of money. For a particular person, $4,000 to $5,000 is more than enough for a single month itself. More than enough for a single month itself. But for a company, it's very less. Now, coming on to the first part, bug bounty hunting. But again, before competing into bug bounty hunting, let me tell you again, as a freelance security consultant, it is going to be very hard for you to get in as a freelance security consultant. Let's say Aditya, he made an account in Upwork. He's telling that I'm a security consultant, I can do all of your work. But the chances of getting the first project would be very low. The toughest part of being a freelance security consultant is getting projects and getting the first project only. Once you get the first projects, once you score the first projects, it's all fine. Everything can be done smoothly. But till the time you are not being able to get the first project, it's very hard for you to survive out in the market. To get the first project, you need that sort of exposure and you need to build up your profile in that sort of manner. And it's very hard for you to build up in a short span of time. It's eventually going to take you 2 years to land up only to the first project. And once you get the project, everything is done. The reason is why I'm saying this is because it is not only you who has a profile. There are plenty lot of other people who also has a profile in the freelancing websites as well. So they also tell, okay, I am providing these, I am providing that. And people have also vouched for them. So it's natural that other companies would be looking to those profile first, who already holds up a vouch or who already holds up a trust into the community, rather than some newcomer. So that is the reason it is going to take a long time for you to build up the entire profile and you need to gain the first project itself. Till the time you are not getting a first project, you cannot proceed anywhere. So once you get the first project, you can show that, yes, these are my skills and you can get a vouch for that and you can proceed again. The second thing that comes up is bug bounty hunting. Now, this is a scenario where almost every particular person can participate. There are no negative rules apart from that of duplicates, and there are almost no limitations apart from that of scopes. So bug bounty hunting is what for people who knows about bug bounty hunting, well and good. For people who do not know about bug bounty hunting, let me give the entire thing in short for you guys. And what Aditya said, what Santu said, and what others said was completely correct. So let me give the entire thing in a bit more elaborated manner so that you get to understand what exactly is the scenario, why exactly bug bounty hunting, how exactly bug bounty hunting happens. So first of all, whenever an application gets developed, whatever application it might be, like हो सकता है कि application हो सकता है Android हो, iOS application हो, thick application हो, whatever is developed. The next thing that happens is it gets put production environment. The production environment में क्या होता है? In the production environment, the regression. Now, whenever I am talking about bugs, bugs and vulnerabilities are two different things. Bugs and vulnerabilities are two different things. Let's say I am trying to send a message to Ginny. Now, while sending a message to Ginny, let's say in a social media or something, wherever that might be, I am getting an error. Let's say if I'm getting an error, that is a bug, definitely, because I am trying to do something which is something that I'm supposed to do, but I'm not being able to do that. So it is a bug. But in the error, if I am getting something like the error is containing some file path or certain path, which when I'm opening, I'm getting access to certain private files of that of Genie, then at that particular point of time, that becomes a vulnerability because the bug is now circumventing the rules of security. So it is posing risk to the internal security of that of users or that of organizations. So that is the difference between bugs and vulnerabilities. So whenever a bug is dealing with security infrastructure, whenever it is compromising the role of security, it is a vulnerability. And before that phase, if it's generally a default, like something is not working or something is this is happening, then that is a general bug. After functional and regressional testing gets done, then what happens is then it moves into the penetration testing environment. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है the entire scenario of pen testing happens where there are, let's say there is a project and three people are assigned to that very specific project. तो XYZ कंपनी से प्रोजेक्ट आया, let's say एबनो सिक्योरिटी के पास ही आया. एबनो सिक्योरिटी ने थ्री साइबर सिक्योरिटी कंसल्टेंट और टू एनालिस्ट एंड वन कंसल्टेंट को दे दिया रोल. Now they are dealing with that very specific project. All right, everything's fine. Now what would be done in most companies? I'm not talking specifically about Abno security because do not want to discuss what exactly are the private techniques that we use. But what happens in most companies are they deal with things like automation. So the entire assessment, the entire vulnerability testing, and these and that will be held through automation using different tools. Let's say Qnetics, let's say for network security, NSS, these and that, and blah blah blah. These are going to happen. Some parts of manual testing, उसके बाद वो लोग report करेंगे. That is going to happen. अब सीन ये होता है कि organizations who or the clients who took the security service, they know कि the testing that was done, वो तो बस 3 candidates ने किया है हम लोग का. अभी if the hacker plus he also used heavily automation tools, if there is a hacker who is going to hack me in future, he is not going to use any of the tools. He or she is going to use the very specific thing which is the most exclusive thing, that is his or her mind. And the role or the mind of an extraordinary hacker is going to beat all sorts of available tools out in the present market or out in the present world at any particular point of time. They know that. As a result, what they do is they push the entire program into the bug bounty platform, or they hold up a responsibility disclosure program, anything like that. So at this present moment, what they do is they invite all hackers all over the world to participate in their program and to hack their websites based on the rules and to report all of the vulnerabilities that the hackers would be finding to the target itself. So once they report, okay, these are the vulnerabilities, these are these and that and all of these particular things, once they receive the report, they would be judging if the risk is a big risk or if it is posing a big threat to our organizations in our business impact or something or not. Based on that, they would be proceeding the entire thing. So higher the CVSS score would be, higher the risk it would be, the higher the risk, the higher reward it would be getting. So you might even be getting a Hall of Fame, you might even be getting a swag, you might even be getting bounties. So previously, back in like when I hacked into Microsoft, it was back in I guess 2016 or 17. Back in that particular point of time, Microsoft used to give Hall of Fames. So getting my name as Hall of Fames. Right now, Microsoft gives bounties as well. So previously, in that particular scenario, when I used to test, Microsoft didn't used to give any sort of bounties. At this present moment, it does. But yes, I'm not only talking about big organizations. There are plenty lot of small organizations as well as other organizations that also provides the same thing as well. So that is specifically about bug bounties. Now, these are some of the many rewards that I earned over the period of like some couple of months. अभी rewards तो इतना है कि I cannot fit into the screen. These are some glimpses, some very few, like maybe 0.5% out of 100%. So I cannot include everything क्योंकि screen में उतना जगह नहीं हो. But yes, these are very few rewards that I got out from bug bounty. Now, the interesting thing is anyone, absolutely anyone can get into bug bounties. Anyone can do any things from bug bounties. Absolutely anyone. And it's not that tough. All that you need is a very creative mindset. So if you have that sort of creativity, you can get it. Now, at this particular point of time, we would now going into the live hacking phase. But before going into that, I would first be asking if any of you have any sort of questions at this present moment. Please do raise your hand first. अगर किसी के पास कोई question है. Anyone? Or even you can unmute your mic and you can speak up. Anyone? Okay. All right. Okay, so how many of you guys are interested right now to see get it into the live hacking phase? Live hacking technically. Raise your hand. Fast. Jaldi. Candidates and 26 and 27, 28, 29, 31 and 33 and 34. All right. So let us get in right now. Spawning security. Which happens next. So let's have the scenario itself. I would be telling all of you guys some sort of stuffs as well. So whenever we are dealing with bug bounties, okay, you do not need to be getting a job into cybersecurity. Definitely, you can do bug bounties in your free time. Definitely, and you can earn the amount of money that you would be earning through bug bounties is going to be much more than the entire year's salary itself. And we have candidates like this is very specifically our website. This is very specifically our website. You can get into the website after security. So we also hold up practical live training for candidates, be it general candidates, be it candidates. Okay. All skills that would be required for all of you guys to get it. The very first thing would be reporting vulnerabilities only to targets. These are the rules. Only to targets that has a responsible disclosure program. Wordline.com, Aquasec, Central Bank, WhatTrue, ActiveTrack, Strong TM, ADI, and all of these websites that holds up a responsible disclosure program. So that is specifically what I was saying. Like let's say if we open this specific link first, what line? So they hold up a responsible disclosure programs. They are inviting the hackers all over the world. So they want people, hackers, to hack them and to report the vulnerabilities that they found, the loopholes that they found. So yes, you can only report or test into those particular report into those particular website that holds up a responsible disclosure program. If you report in any program as an individual, not as a company holds up a lot of other dealers. Okay. So a company can do a lot of other things which an individual cannot do. But as an individual, specific individual, if you report in any organization or any company which do not holds up a responsible disclosure program, it is completely illegal. And if you do that, and if they turn around, it might be very hard for you to get it because you as an individual would not be able to compete with the company. An individual has very less chances of competing with a company and winning a case. If someone gives a case on you, it's going to be destroy your life. Yes, whenever you are report a vulnerability to those programs that holds up a responsible disclosure program. That is it. So you can search up like this, and there are plenty lot of ways which we would be talking in the further upcoming parts itself. Yes, this is how you understand these programs are containing responsible disclosure programs. All of these websites are containing responsible disclosure programs, and you can test them, hack them, and report them. Now that's the first thing. The second thing is you need to, if you have, I do not care about what other people sees based on my own experiences, based on my own level of knowledge of all of these years. I'm saying technical skills are something that you can gather or acquire in a very short span of time. But the mental skills, कैसे सोचना है, is something is going to come to you after you spend a lot of time into the entire field. How to communicate, how to manipulate someone. These are known as human hacking. How to read the mind of someone. These are known as social engineering skills. So if you have technical skills, which is 40%, and if you develop your social engineering skills 60%, you can earn bounties with very low level vulnerabilities as well. $3-digit bounties with very low level vulnerabilities as well. So all of these things. So before I get into the suit application security or all of these particular things, I would like to show all of you guys one thing. If all of you guys are interested, how I hacked into Dell. This was a scenario of last year. I hacked into Dell. I hacked into the entire infrastructure of Dell, and it was pretty easy, very easy, so easy that all of you guys would be stunned. So, are you guys interested? Please raise your hands. All of you guys who are interested. 4 candidates and 27 or 32, 33, 34, 36. All right. So let us see. Yes, turn your hands on. So this vulnerability has definitely been patched and has been patched in a very short period of time only. Please let me know if my video is visible to all of you guys. Is my video visible to all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So this was a subdomain of Dell. Like you guys can see online CS audit pen.abj.dell.com. This was a subdomain of Dell. Through certain enumeration phases and certain things, I got the subdomain, and it was very easy. Now at this present moment, I saw that there was a login panel for this. Like whenever I am opening this subdomain online CS audit pen.abj.dell.com, it is landing that the first URL comes up like this. This is the first URL. Now what I did was I can try for brute forcing password, different passwords, but that was not my intention to brute force passwords or something. I thought, what if I have a separate strategy, and the strategy is to try out something which is present over the screen. So I saw Vertiv is present, which is written over here. And I understand that they are using a management panel from someone else. So you can see Avocent, this is via Avocent management software. So they are using management panel from certain third-party vendors. That's all right. What I did was I entered the username Vertiv. I entered the password Vertiv. So I entered the username Vertiv, as well as I also entered the username Vertiv. Now, once I logged in, I got access to the entire infrastructure of Dell. Yes, I got access to the entire infrastructure of Dell. So at this present moment, I had access to all of their firmwares, switches, routers. If I want to crash a firmware or delete a firmware or modify a firmware or even inject my malicious piece of codes into any firmwares, I can do that. I can turn off any of their routers. I can hire my malicious traffic into any of the routers. I can change any particular user. I have the username passwords. I can compromise any particular username passwords of any particular person. I can change the identities. For example, let's say you are working as a software engineer in Dell. I can make you a CISO in Dell, and I can also increment your salary in Dell. All of these things, everything, whatever, even I can backdoor any particular user. I can change an administrator. So you can see I have access to all of the users, their restrictions. If they have limited level of access, I can increase the level of access. I can backdoor any particular user from any particular place. I can use my SSH key to backdoor into their application. Whatever I want, I can do. So basically, God level access is something that you guys can see. Now, this was the level of vulnerability which I reported to Dell, I guess 1 year back at this present at the moment. Yes, you can see 11, 10, 20. So this was the specific timings when I reported, and I made a video of this as well. So that was a very specific timing when I did that. So after you report, definitely this is a P1 level vulnerability. When you report a vulnerability, whenever you report a vulnerability, the vulnerability is basically, if it's a P1, it gets triaged immediately, and after that you get a response, let's say after 1 day. And after 1 day, when you get back a response, then the entire thing for the patching scenario to get ended up, it takes around 4 days or 5 days, something like that. So it is around 1 week. The total time is 1 week to get patched. This vulnerability, once I reported, got patched within 30 minutes. Everything includes the responses and everything. Everything got done within 30 minutes. So I reported the vulnerability. I went outside. I went outside for getting some fresh air. When I came in, I saw there was it already got trashed. I got 40 months. So patch the entire vulnerability. The entire vulnerability got patched within 30 minutes only. When I sat back again into the PC. So that was the level of critical access into the vulnerability itself. So how many of you think, I want all of you guys to raise your hand, how many of you guys think that this was pretty easy to do? How many of you guys think that? Please raise your hand. Okay, 1, 9, 10 candidates and 16 and 18, 19. All right, all right, all right. Understood. So this was very easy. But is it going to be, is this known as hacking? Yes, definitely. Default credentials is a part of hacking. But that is something that I showed to all of you guys right now. Are we going to deal with only videos? No. We are also going to deal with certain live things that we are going to hack right now. So let us go into the first scenario right now. First of all, let us know one thing about so based off before that, let us go into a live website. So there is a website, technopk.com. So this is the website, technopk.com, and it is a Pakistani website. So in this website, uh, what we feel, let us go. There is an admin login page. So let us go into the admin login page. So in the admin login page, what exactly can I do? I can definitely enter admin. I can try to log in, but it is not going to help me log in. I can try up techno and techno. It's not going to help me up. I can tie up techno traders. It's not going to help me up. What if I put a single quote over here and two hyphens over here? I paste the exact same thing and I click on login. Bingo. I directly bypassed the admin panel without knowing the password. This is a code, not a password. So I directly got access into this. Now, definitely inventory and everything, I have an access to everything. I do not want to disclose any of the details of this website. That is the reason I'm logging out, definitely. But yes, I bypass the login panel directly without knowing the password. Now, I want any of you guys have an idea about why exactly this happened? Any of you guys, please unmute your mic and speak up.
So probably there might be a bug in that website.
Of course, there is a vulnerability, but what exactly happened? Any ideas from anyone?
The text you inserted commented the code after it. Is that what happened?
And why? Why? What exactly is this?
This is an SQL injection, and the website is actually using SQL, and you took advantage of that, and that is why you could gain access.
Exactly. So what we did was SQL injection. Your name was
Shubham.
Shubham. All right. So what we did or what we saw over here was or is known as SQL injection. This is a simple phase of SQL injection, not something complex. SQL injection. What exactly we did was, before getting to know what exactly we did, let us understand what exactly SQL injection is. SQL injection is whenever we are as an attacker, whenever there is an input field, whatever that might be, in a parameter, in a login field, whatever that might be, in a post parameter, wherever that might be, whenever we are entering a piece of text, it needs to get treated as a piece of text, whatever the text might be. If a particular person who is an attacker enters a text which is not actually which is a random query or a SQL query, and the application doesn't treat it as a text but treats it as a command, which then interacts with the backend of the SQL server and then returns back the responses of that specific command, then it becomes a SQL injection. So basically, whenever a malicious query doesn't get treated as a text but as a command and interacts with the backend database and then returns back the response to the attacker, it is known as SQL injection. Clear to every one of you? Please respond yes or no via your audio itself. Please respond yes or no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now at this place, what we did was, let's say, suppose there was a query like this. All right, there was a query like this. Select star from users where username equals to admin and password equals to your password or something. Whatever the password is, I do not know the password. So if I do not know the password, how exactly am I going to bypass that? So what I did was I manipulated the query by entering certain piece of text. What exactly I did was I entered something like this. So this is this, all right, and password also was this. So what happened was basically when I entered select star from users where username equals to, this was taking an input. Within this two quotes, there was an input. Whatever my input is, it is going to be placed within two quotes. All right. What I did specifically was I entered a single quote from my own instance itself. Now this blocked the input. It means this input is complete. After that, what I did was I provided two hyphens. Now, yes, someone said about commenting, right? Who was that? Can I know the name? Who was that?
Yes, Afif.
Afif. All right. Yes, exactly. We commented out the rest of the password checking mechanisms, the entire rest of the password checking mechanism. So it is first basically blocking the input, and then second, it is commenting out the rest of the password checking mechanisms. As a result, the password is not being checked at all, and we are directly getting it. Look at direct access window by bypassing the entire admin panel. So that is basically what happened in this exact scenario. And is it going to be that easy in bug bounty programs? No, definitely not. Definitely not. But in bug bounty programs, things are going to be different. Things are going to be complicated. And yes, SQL injection is something that do not expect that you would be finding SQL injection right at the first instance. No. Mostly whenever you are going to get SQL injections, you are going to get post-based SQL injections, blind SQL injections, time-based SQL injections, a lot of other things, which we would be coming to know in later webinars. If we hold up later webinars, we would get to know all of those particular pieces itself. But is this the only thing that we can do? No. I would like to show you one website that we have. This is a website that we have. And this is a website of a college in West Bengal, Jalpaiguri College in West Bengal. I am also from West Bengal. So presently we are in the charge of securing them and everything. So yes, we took permission from them. We had done all of these things. We were providing security to them. So we took permission from them that can we show certain of these particular phases that what we did to live students out there. So yes, they gave us permission. That is the reason you are seeing this right now. So this is a very simple parameter, very simple parameter. What we did over here is, anyone wants to say something? Christina, Maria, anything from your side?
Sorry, unmuted by mistake.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what we did was we put a single quote and we were getting this sort of query. Could not fetch, you have an error in SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server version for the right syntax to use near 23 at line 1. So 23 is the parameter and line 1 is the place where the error occurred. So whenever we are getting some sort of error like this, we understand this is to SQL injection. So the next thing is we are going to get inside the entire website. All right, not via bypassing admin panel, but through certain other things. Now, this point is, if I try out for manual SQL injection, it's going to be very boring for all of you guys because it's going to be tedious, time consuming, and many people will not be able to understand that right at this particular piece itself. So what we would be doing is we would be automating that entire thing. So how? We would be using SQL map. I'll be passing the query, specifying the switch of the URL. This is going to be the URL, and I'm going to extract the database, and I'm going to pass random user agents to all of my requests. So now let's see what happens. Okay, so I got the result. The database, available database is info. This is the first available database that we have. All right, and this is over a live application. Again, remember it. So within a website, there are databases. Within a database, there is tables. Within a tables, there are columns. Within columns, there are datas. Everyone knows about this. I want responses, voice responses. Please tell me. Everyone knows about this. Within a database, there are tables. Within the tables, there are columns. Within columns, there are datas. Everyone knows about this. Please respond yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So our target is to find the data. अब अंदर का डेटा में झांक के देखना है हम लोग को क्या है क्या नहीं है डेटा में. तो उसके लिए हम लोग को क्या चाहिए? सबसे पहले डेटाबेस निकालना है. डेटाबेस हम लोग ने निकाली. अब क्या निकालना है? टेबल्स. उसके बाद निकालना है कलम्स. उसके बाद कलम्स के अंदर से डेटा निकालना है. Whatever private, confidential, sensitive information is something that we would be trying to obtain right now. Something that is not supposed to be seen by anyone else other than the administrator. So let's do one thing. Let us specify the database as info and let us search for the tables, whatever tables are present. So now all of these tables are present. We got the response, all of these tables are present. Now I want to hear responses from all of you guys. How many of you think table name देके आप लोग बताओ मेरे को कि कौन कौन सा टेबल में आपको लगता है कि इस पे सेंसिटिव डेटा हो सकता है? Which tables are like a bit interesting to all of you guys? Seems a bit interesting to all of you guys. Respond with your voice, please. And mute yourself. Respond with your voice, please.
Employer table.
Employer table exactly is employer. एम्प्लॉयर टेबल, अच्छा ठीक है, एक टेबल है, एंड
Login table.
लॉगिन टेबल, एंड एनीवन एल्स,
Sir,
एनीवन एल्स?
gallery.
यस, रिपीट वंस मोर.
Gallery, sir.
गैलरी, गैलरी में तो हम लोग को क्या मिलेगा? पिक्चर ही मिलेगा, पिक्चर या फिर ये सब ही मिलेगा.
Security startup.
सिक्योरिटी स्टार्टअप, ठीक है, ऑल राइट. सो वी गॉट सर्टेन टेबल्स फ्रॉम ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस. तो हम लोग चेक करते हैं सबसे पहले. सो विच वन शुड वी चेक? समथिंग, समवन सेड समथिंग अबाउट लॉगिन, राइट? तो लॉगिन पे क्या है? लेट अस चेक. Okay, this is about login. This is about login page. Let us try with this first. Then we are going to go inside login. Let us copy this login page. इसके बाद what we are going to do is we are going to fetch the columns. Let us press enter. Right now you get three columns. One is ID, user ID, one is username, and one is password. And all of these columns are interesting to us. It's the data. क्या है इसके अंदर? So column, we are going to specify ID, then username, then password. Then we are going to dump the entire data. And let's see. ID, password, username. Okay, so it has started. It's going to take a bit of time. But still, for the sake, we are going to wait a bit. Thus, we can try also one thing. Sir. We are also going to try in the login column as well. There was simple login column, right? We are also going to try within the simple login column. Okay, so this is happening. Till this is happening, let us try with the simple login column. Okay, so all of these are the data for the login. These are the data for the login column. So what I did was I dumped all of the data directly. I didn't choose any column. I dumped all of the data directly from the column itself. All right. So as you can see, these are the data that are present. Someone's email ID, someone's password, someone's email ID, someone's password. These are the login IDs and some other things. So yes, you can see login ID. This is, I do not know, maybe branches or something. Username, is the profile activated or not? If 0, then not activated. If 1, then activated. Like in admin, you can see activated. Maths administrator extender updated, disabled password. These are the passwords and all of these particular things. So here also we obtained all of these informations. But unfortunately, the table doesn't contains any sort of passwords over here. All right. But here we got passwords. So yes, definitely we can crack the passwords and a lot of things can be done. And how to crack passwords, definitely at this present moment, none of you guys would be able to do because we have ensured certain things, we have dealt with certain things. But if whenever you deal with certain things, these are basically hashes. So if you want to crack a hash identifier, we would be pasting our hash and we would be understanding which kind of hash it is. We can understand this is a SHA-1 hash. So once we get to know, okay, this is a SHA-1 hash or this is an MD5 hash, hashes are not reversible. If all of you have studied that, you guys would know that, but it's not mandatory for you to know that. But hashes are not reversible. What can be done is if a hash has particularly been compromised previously, it is going to compare its value. But if a hash is salted hash, it's going to become very impossible, more than impossible for you to crack the entire hash itself. The reason is salted, how the entire salting thing happens is, first of all, you hash up entire data, then you append a piece of string, a string. to the first part of the second part of the middle part of the entire password itself, or to the hash itself, and then again you hash the entire thing up. So for example, there is a password which is ABCD. The hash of the ABCD is going to be same for everything, right? If there is an MD5 hash, or if there is a SHA-1 hash, the SHA-1 hash is going to be same for every particular thing. But a salted hash for the same exact password is going to be different for every different scenarios based on where exactly it is being appended. That is how it rotates. एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट, जब तक आप जिंदा हो, आप अगर एक थोड़ा बहुत भी टफ पासवर्ड क्रैक करने चलोगे सॉल्टेड, आप तक जब भी जिंदा हो, मान के चलते 100 साल जिंदा हो, तो 100 साल में तो क्रैक नहीं हो पाएगा वो वाला पासवर्ड, डेफिनेटली इट वुड नॉट बी पॉसिबल. सो that is the hardened phase that we provide so that these things become secured right at the first instance itself. That's the first thing. Now, once we have dealt with all of these things, let me clear these particular things up. And this is some things that we can deal with SQL injection. Anyone interested to say any other data from any other table? Anyone? If anyone is interested to say any other data from any other table, please respond right now. Anyone? Interact, guys. If yes, please go ahead.
So how about the security table?
Okay, security table. Let's go inside the security table. Let's see what exactly is present inside security table. Let's see what are the columns present inside security table. So there are time and ID. I do not think any important things are present inside security table. Nothing important is present. Even if I dump the contents, let's see. Nothing important over here. Nothing important present inside this. This is a salted value. I do not know what exactly the salted value is for, but nothing important inside this. The most important part was present inside this. I personally had suggested them to solve the entire thing. They had solved the entire thing. Right now they have removed it. And yes, we are working with them at this present moment itself. Yes, this is being patched and website and everything is being patched. So this is about SQL injection. SQL injection by default is a very high vulnerability. If you get a SQL injection in any bug bounty targets, you can expect a bounty around minimum of $5,000 to $10,000 minimum. $5,000 is something that you can definitely expect. If the program is big, you might even be earning more than $10,000 or $15,000 right with a single bug itself. But it's not that easy to find SQL injections directly. Not that easy. That is the very first thing. Now we are going to see certain other things as well. And to understand that, we need to get inside application security. Now we are going to use Burp Suite. Anyone knows what exactly is Burp Suite? If anyone knows, please unmute your mic and please come up. Anyone knows what exactly is Burp Suite or Burp Suite, whatever you term it as? No one? Okay, let me tell you. What happens is whenever there is an application, जो application हम लोग let's say there is a particular button, login button. Whenever we click on a button, let's say we enter the username and password. After entering the username and password, what happens is this particular scenario. When we click a button, the client side, client slash browser, our browser is our client. Browser sends a request to the server. Then what happens is server validates the request. So it responds with a true or false value, whatever the value is. Then the server runs back client side. Then our browser renders and displays it to us. That is the phase that happens whenever we are clicking a button. Whatever, whenever a request is being sent, that is the particular phase that happens. But over here, whenever Burpsuit comes in, what happens is Burpsuit acts like a proxy. So the client or the browser sends a request. इतना तक सही है. To the Burpsuit. अब क्या होता है? Burpsuit forwards the request to the server. उसके बाद क्या होता है? The server again validates the request. Next thing what happens is the server returns back the response to the Burpsuit. Burpsuit forwards a response to the browser. And what happens? The browser displays or renders the contents. This is the workflow what happens when we deal with Burpsuit. So Burpsuit acts as an intermediary or as a proxy in the to and fro traffic that flows. जो भी ट्रैफिक जाएगा फ्रॉम द क्लाइंट साइड टू द सर्वर साइड या फिर आएगा फ्रॉम द सर्वर साइड टू द क्लाइंट साइड, in both of these particular phases Burpsuit would be acting as an intermediary. So क्लाइंट ब्राउजर पहले रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करता है, रिक्वेस्ट कैप्चर होता है Burpsuit पे, रिक्वेस्ट फर्स्ट गोज इनटू Burpsuit, देन Burpsuit सेंड्स द रिक्वेस्ट टू द सर्वर. द सर्वर वैलिडेट करता है कि रिक्वेस्ट सही है कि नहीं, लाइक आई हैव एंटर्ड username and a password. Is the username correct? Is the password correct? If it is correct, all right, well and good, let me in. If not correct, then okay, do not let that particular person in. That is the thing that happens. After that, once the validation is done, after it responds the true and false value, this response goes to the Burpsuit again. Burpsuit now what it does, it's forward backs the response to the browser. A browser पूरा चीज को डिस्प्ले करके हम लोग को दिखाता है. That is the entire workflow what happens within Burpsuit. So why do we use Burpsuit? Burpsuit is basically a proxy tool, but we use Burpsuit to get an idea about the to and fro traffic, to modify the data, to do plenty of other functionalities. So what are those? What are other things we can do? We would be coming across later sessions itself. But yes, these are the things that we would get to do. Now let us see something live at this present moment itself. So website, and we have been working with this website. They're a client of ours, and do not test or report or anything into this website, because we as a company we are doing it. As an individual, it would not be legal for any of you guys to do it. So yes, we have taken permission from them. They allowed us. That is the reason you guys are getting to see these vulnerabilities right now. All right. So in this website, we are going to deal with certain things. If it is vulnerable, I still do not know if they have patched it or not. But yes, I took a permission from them 1 week back. If it is vulnerable, we would get to see right now. Before we get to see anything, we would get to see something live. First of all, I would ask, how many of you know what exactly is a two-factor authentication? How many of you know that? Please unmute your mic and speak up. Okay, Shubham was there. Okay, Shubham, please go ahead.
So two-factor authentication is a new type of security rule in which the softwares have two levels of authentication. Either it is an OTP or a security question, or something that requires two levels of security for any account or anything.
Okay. Anyone else with any other answers? Anyone else? Please come up. Anyone else with any other answers? We have so many candidates. और कोई है with any other questions? Aaron Disa and Jyotis. Okay, not Jyotis, I guess. Aaron Disas and yes, Jyotis.
No, sir.
All right. All right. So two-factor authentication, I guess every one of you know that. क्या two-factor authentication है? Primary level of authentication रहता है. उसके बाद you add a added layer of authentication. And why company does it is to provide extra level of security to the users so that the user accounts does not get hacked. So even if your password got breached out or leaked out in any particular random attack, for an attacker to log in, they would be requiring that sort of 2FA. Like 2FA falls within multi-factor authentication. अब multi-factor authentication में बहुत कुछ होता है, starting from OTP to TOTP to HOTP and all of these things. We are not going to go that depth inside that depth, but we are going to learn certain things. So when we are applying two-factor authentication, is it secure or is it not secure? Applying two-factor authentication, is it secure or is it not secure? Please respond with your voice. Or please raise hand who thinks it is secure. Right now, please raise hands who thinks applying two-factor authentication is secure. Okay, we have 3 hands, 4 hands, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, and 15, and 16, 17, 18. और कोई है? All right. 19. All right. Turn your answer. Definitely, two-factor authentication is made and applied and deployed by website owners to increase the security of one's account. All right. Please turn your hands down. Or the rest of the participants, 4 participants, please turn your hands down. Now, that is the reason two-factor authentication is applied, so that someone doesn't get access. Why? Because to get the access, they would be requiring the OTP and they would be having the OTP only if they have the access to the phone number. अगर फोन ही उन लोग के पास नहीं हुआ तो ओटीपी तो नहीं मिलने वाला, और अगर ओटीपी नहीं मिला तो वो लोग को एक्सेस नहीं मिलेगा, इवन इफ दे नो द यूजर नेम एंड पासवर्ड. Is two-factor authentication unhackable? No. So right now we are going to deal with certain things and we are going to break two-factor authentication right now. For this one, I want one part to help me up. Anyone? I would ask someone's phone number. Anyone? Please go, come up. TEST1235 and confirm password TEST1235. All right. And now if I'm trying to create an account, I am confirming this. Now if I try to create an account, it is telling me please verify your phone number. If I click on all of these particular things as well, it is telling me please verify your phone number to register. So first of all, I need to verify. Without verification, I cannot get it, right? Let me do one thing. Let me download the intersect over here and click on verify. So this is the request that is going in, all right? And OTP is created, error message is true, error message is null, form validation false. All right. Christina, have you received the OTP?
Yeah, it's
all right.
17.
You do not need to say the OTP. Right? Okay, I do not know the OTP of Christina, right? All I can do is let me enter a random OTP, let's say 0000. or let's say 0123 and let me click submit. तो हम लोग का request जा रहा है अभी. This is the OTP 0123 and the CSRF token is this. We do not need to know anything about CSRF token at this present moment. It's not necessary for us at this current moment. So if I intercept this, this is the response and it is telling me please enter a valid OTP. Why? Because this is not the correct OTP. Am I right, Christina? This is not your OTP, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to bypass this scenario. What if I submit with the same exact OTP? Check the response. The response I find, there is something known as false. There is a parameter that is being passed. If I change the false to true, and if I forward the request and turn the intercept off, now you see it is verified. Christina, do you want me to verify the entire thing by clicking on sign up, by creating an account?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So let us do that. On sign up and let's see if it gets successfully created or not. So now we see we were able to create an account for Christina without any of the permission from Christina, like without any of the access of Christina's phone numbers. I do not have the phone number of Christina. Neither do I have the OTP of Christina. Both phone number and OTP is present with Christina only. But I, on the other end, did all of these particular things. This can be done in other manners also. Like someone enables the password and verification and two-factor authentication. I did the exact same thing and I bypassed the entire two-factor authentication itself. So this is your phone number, right? Which has been linked 916759303, right, Krishna?
Yeah.
All right. So as a result, we were able to bypass this entire two-factor authentication directly without any of the access of Christina's phone number or Christina's OTP. And Christina, yes, feel free to use this account. I have created this account for you. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So how many of you found this entire thing to be interesting? Please raise your hand. 4 candidates and 36 and 29 or 32 and 33 and 34 और कौन है? Okay, that is it among 49 candidates. All right. Yes, please turn your hands down. All right. So you guys saw how easy it is. Now, yes, definitely it is not going to be the same exact scenario, like you are changing from false to true or true to false or something like that. No, situations are different based on the different workflows, based on the different developers, applications and everything. And as a pen tester, you need to find that. As a pen tester, you need that sort of creative mentality that you need to do that. So that is exactly what we provide to the students whenever we, in Abner Security, train students to get inside cybersecurity or get into bug bounties, earn bugs and valid bounties out of it. So, for example, this vulnerability, if you report a vulnerability like a single bug like this, a two-factor authentication bypass, should be earning a bounty between $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000 maybe. Some around this with a single bug itself. So yes, this counts up to a very huge level. So let me sign out from this particular place itself. Let me get back into this particular place. So we plan on creating many of the upcoming webinars if all of you guys are interested for these things. So how many of you would be interested to see further webinars? Yes, definitely they are going to be paid ones, but very nominal fees. How many of you would be interested? Please raise your hand. So 7 candidates and others, 9 and 14 and 15 and 16, others 18, 19. Okay, all right. Turn your hands off. Okay, all right. Turn your hands off. So in the following webinars, if we conduct webinars, if all of you are asking for webinars, that you like this particular webinar, even a bit or a lot, we would be going into certain different areas. Especially the first is going to be Amno security creates magic when it comes into cybersecurity. Definitely, that's true, of course. First is going to be getting into private bug bounty target that is going to pay you 4-digit bounties, 4-digit dollar bounties for your bug. That's the first thing. The second thing, we are famous companies, how to create exposure and all of these things, how to get direct exposure. The third is how you can hack a target right from scratch and getting vulnerabilities that pays more than 3-digit bounties. Then real life exploitation, like some things we saw right now. More than that, we are going to see extended versions, highly extended versions of those particular things of real life exploitation of numerous other vulnerabilities. So whatever we saw was not in a dummy environment or in a simulated environment. It was in a real life piece, real life web applications out there. The next is, after that, we are also going to prepare for how we can directly get into the cybersecurity job interview. So in the upcoming, if all of you guys want, if everyone wants, we would be conducting further 2 webinars. And within the further 2 webinars, you would get to see all of these particular things, where live hacking is going to be one of the biggest sectors in the entire particular place itself. So yes, definitely registration would start soon. And if any of you want to join any of our courses, you can visit abnosecurity.com and to get idea about what are the contains and everything, you can directly click the enroll button where you would be getting directed to the WhatsApp. You can ask the details and everything. Yes, definitely for this specific college, if you say that you are from the Fragrance, you would be getting a very specific discount as well, which we have kept. At this particular point, this entire piece ends, and I would be asking if any of you has any sort of questions. If any of you has any sort of questions, please raise your hand. Anyone with question? Any questions, whatever that might be regarding cybersecurity, whatever that might. Shubham Sona? Okay, Shubham Oja. Yes, please go ahead.
What kind of operating system do you recommend? Like I have read and heard about Kali Linux being very popular, but I saw that you were using Parrot Security OS. So can you tell something about that?
Yes, the very first thing is previously I used to use Kali Linux. Like when I started my journey into penetration testing, I used to use Windows, definitely. After that, I moved into Kali Linux. Back in, let's say, I guess that was back in 2013. 13, I moved into Kali Linux or something. Backbox. It was Backbox at the Backtrack. It was Backtrack by then. Then the name changed into Kali Linux. The problem that you will be facing at this present moment in Kali Linux is there are a lot of problems that happens with the repositories and the dependencies, and it boggles up your mind a lot. There is a reason we choose Parent Security. Kali Linux is the most famous operating system if you're talking about ethical hacking or hacking or penetration testing, definitely. But yes, apart from that, mostly what we choose, what people who already know about different other genres or who are experienced, they choose either black box or they choose either you say simple Ubuntu or they choose Parrot operating system. Like you can see, I also have simple Ubuntu over here. This is my Ubuntu here. People choose depending upon what exactly is their entire level of experience they choose. Like if you are a fresher and if you are starting your journey into the cybersecurity field, I would be suggesting you to go into Parrot. That is going to be much more friendly approach and that is going to help you up a lot directly with by using Parrot because everything is organized. Everything you can get in the first instance itself. All sorts of tools and everything are loaded in the first place. And the next thing is it is not going to व्हाट यू से कि दिमाग खराब नहीं करेगा. सिंपल भाषा में हो जाएगा आपका काम. उतना आपको मेहनत नहीं करना पड़ेगा. After that, when you gain some experience, then you can definitely go into other particular things, but do not move into Kali Linux. Why? Because even if you have experience, when things comes into a critical point and you revolve around all of those things, all of the data would be lost if you cannot fix the entire thing up. So yes, experienced people also use Parrot, black box, and all of these things. And I suggest all of you guys to start with Parrot again. All right, Shubham.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else with any sort of other questions regarding cybersecurity or this session or anything? Anyone, please turn your hands up. This is the time for you guys to ask questions. Yes, Shubham Gauri. Shubham, please go ahead.
Sir, how much time would it take for me to learn from scratch the basics of pen testing in cybersecurity?
अभी डिपेंड करता है आपको जाना कहाँ है. अभी लेट्स से इफ यू आर आस्किंग मी कि मेरे को अमेरिका जाना है और पैदल जाना है, स्विम के बीच में समुंदर है तो स्विम करूंगा, सब कुछ करूंगा, उसके लिए टाइम डिफरेंट होगा. अगर आपको, आप कहाँ पे रहते हो शुभम? इन मुंबई?
यस सर.
मुंबई में अगर मान के चलो आप मुंबई के वन लोकेशन से अनदर लोकेशन जाना है, उस पे जाने में कितना टाइम लगेगा? कम टाइम लगेगा. दैट इज अ डिफरेंट. देयर इज अ नेवर एंडिंग फेज ऑफ साइबर सिक्योरिटी. बट इफ आई एम टॉकिंग, इफ यू आर टेलिंग मी, इफ यू आर आस्किंग मी कि जॉब तक पहुंचने में, like to get a job in cybersecurity, how much time would it be taking? Is that what you are asking me, Shubham?
Yes sir.
Yes. So you do not need to spend a very big amount of time. No. What you need to do is, first of all, creativity. Creativity is important. Creativity is not going to come up to you directly. That is something that comes up after you spend a lot of time. Like personally, it came up to me after I spent 6 years into this entire field itself. So yes, it takes up a lot of time. That is the reason Apno Security provides all of these things. Other organizations all around the world do not focus around creativity. Basic methodologies, these and that are being taught. But yes, creativity is something that is more important. Life things, what exactly happens in the life, that is more important. But when you start up your journey into the entire scratch phases of penetration testing, the very first thing that I'll tell you is think more, test less. That's the first thing. The second thing is read as much as you can. The more you read, the more you gain the knowledge. And there would be private things you would not be getting directly out, but free, there are plenty lot of free resources at this present moment. Like if you go through WASP top 10, you would be getting a lot of vulnerabilities. And in Apno Security, we prepare candidates. Like if you dedicate 1 month for yourself and you prepare the, we candidates prepare, they get and they crack up jobs after 1 month itself. Interviews and everything, once they get inside the interviews, they crack the entire job itself. So yes, it's not going to take a huge lot of time, but yes, that depends upon your creativity. If you have that sort of creativity, or we provide that sort of creativity, so if you build up that creativity, then yes, it's very easy for you to get it. Plus the knowledge is going to come to you. If you start reading within next 1 week, you are going to get to know the entire part about WASP top 10. I'm very sure about that. I guess all of you guys are from technical background, and even if you are not from technical background, if you are from any sort of other background also, still आप लोग का हो सकता है, कोई दिक्कत वाली बात नहीं. तो skills, practical is going to take a bit of time. So 1 month, if you dedicate yourself, you can do all of these particular things. All right, Shubham. Any other questions?
No sir, thank you sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Please raise your hand, or please unmute your mic and ask.
So is hacking of applications kind of same? Means
hacking of website and applications. So whenever we are dealing nothing other than an application. A website might be a static website, like basically let's say an HTML website. तो वो static है, कुछ dynamic data pass नहीं हो रहा है. तो वो चीज को simple we can say as a static website. अब whenever we are dealing with applications पे क्या होगा? Input provide किया जाएगा, process होगा, server process करेगा, application process करेगा, output देगा. तो वो चीज पे वो होता है dynamic. So websites comprises everything, web application, static codes, everything. And simple static code contains only the static code. So whenever we are talking about websites, उसमें applications भी पड़ता है, सब कुछ, web applications and everything. Now, if you are talking about other applications like Android applications or iOS applications or thick client applications, those are different. But yes, that is also the penetration testing into that particular phase itself. Application pen testing.
Okay.
All right, India. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Please go ahead. Unmute your mic and ask.
So actually, this is Celia. I raised my hand previously.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, my question was, like, as a starter, like, if you're a beginner and you have completely no clue from where to start with, what would you suggest us? Like, where do you start with? Because most of us are interested in cybersecurity, but we do not know how to, actually start working on it. What are we supposed to do?
That's a very nice question. But the question should be this, that what we are not supposed to do. हम लोग को क्या करना चाहिए वो तो बहुत लोग बता देगा, हम लोग को क्या करना नहीं चाहिए वो कोई नहीं बताएगा। वो चीज सबसे पहले सुनो। Once you get to know what you are not supposed to do, then you would understand what you are supposed to do. What you are not supposed to do, never ever search in YouTube how to become an ethical hacker or how to learn things as an ethical hacker. Never ever do that. Never ever search in Google also, because if any of you have done it, anyone in this entire meeting has done that in YouTube or Google, anyone, please come up. Anyone, कोई search किया है पहले? Lydia, have you done it?
Yes, sir, I've Googled it out.
Okay, what was the response you got?
I got a few members like they gave us their experience, and then they gave me their experience, and then they suggested some courses, and that's it.
Okay, now let me tell you one thing. If you search in any particular thing, to be very specific, आपको यही चीज मिलेगा. You need knowledge about networking. You need knowledge about basics of all programming languages. You need knowledge about how an operating system works. You need knowledge about this. You need knowledge about that, and all of these particular things. Am I correct, Lydia? If you've seen
Yes, some prerequisites.
Yes. Now, these prerequisites are complete bullshit. You do not need any of these things. ना तो आपको नेटवर्किंग का नॉलेज चाहिए, ना तो आपको ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम क्या अंदर तक काम कर रहा है वो चाहिए, क्या कर्नल होता है वो चाहिए, नन ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. ना तो आपको पूरा ओएसआई मॉडल या लेयर्स जानना है, नो, नन ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. ना आपको प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस का सबका बेसिक्स आना चाहिए, नो, none of these things. Whenever you are starting to get into penetration testing, you just get in, read about WASP top 10 and directly get in. Nothing more than that. I am a live example of that. When I started my journey, I never knew anything about coding. When I started my journey, I didn't know anything about networking. Nothing. I didn't know anything about all of those things. I was back in school at that particular point of time. I knew nothing about all of these particular things. So people who जो ये सब पोस्ट करते हैं, जो they make the videos out of something, वो क्यों बनाते हैं? Because they need content. सिंपल भाषा में उन लोग को कंटेंट चाहिए. अब कंटेंट ट्रू हो कि मिसलीडिंग हो, they do not care. And they also do not know if the content is true. वो भी कहीं से रिसर्च करके दे रहे हैं. And the part is, all of these things are posted by persons who are not experienced or who do not have that sort of experience. People who are experienced, they would be telling you cybersecurity is a part like this, where let's say मैं कुछ खाना खा रहा हूँ, all right, खाना खाते खाते मेरे को भूख लग गया, तो उसी टाइम में कुछ और खाना बनाऊंगा और उसको भी खाऊंगा मैं. That is how the entire process of cybersecurity goes on. So whenever you are doing something and you come across a struggle or a hurdle, you learn it immediately and you do it. That is how you do it entire thing in cybersecurity. अगर आपको सबका लैंग्वेजेस का सबसे पहले वाला फेज सीखना है, तो सीखने में ही अटक जाओगे. साइबर सिक्योरिटी पे कभी लैंड कर नहीं पाओगे आप. यू आर गेटिंग मी? सो द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग what you do is read about what's top 10 and get in. And yes, to get into direct phases of cybersecurity, it is a competitive area. Why? Because people deal with creativity. That is the most important thing. So yes, that is something that Abno Security provides. You can directly come up to us. We are going to help all of you guys, definitely for that. But yes, never ever search in Google or never ever search in YouTube how to become an ethical hacker, because all of these informations that you would be getting would be completely useless, and those are completely misleading. All right, Lydia, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just one last thing. You said you spoke about reading, right? So, do you have any suggestions, books or articles which you could suggest us?
Books or articles, there are books. Like for example, if I'm talking about vulnerabilities. I can say web applications hackers handbook. Two. That is one of the books that you can read. But I do not think that reading books is going to help you. Book read करके novel read करो वो भी अच्छा है. Book read मत करो hacking के ऊपर. No, that is not going to help you. I do not think at this particular point of time it is going to help you. What you do is go to WASP official website. You search about vulnerabilities. You would be getting broken authentication, broken access control, and all of these things. Within that, you come across specific vulnerabilities, like let's say IID or let's say authentication bypass or something. Then you simply search the name in Google and read what other blogs or other articles has been written upon that. That is how you gain the information. That is how you gain the research knowledge, and that is how you do the research. वैसे हम लोग भी करते थे in the previous times, but we didn't have the resources back then. अभी बहुत कुछ resources हैं. All right, clearly. Yeah. So you search up a topic and you Google up and you read about the topic. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. All right. So that is all about today's session itself, and we are going to conclude this very specific session. So I'm handing over to the organizers. Organizers, please go ahead. Okay, so shall we conclude the session?
Yes, sir. Bhavika would be giving the vote of thanks.
Okay, all right. Okay, Vavika, that is it. Anything that you
Hello,
would like to
sir.
say?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll conclude. On the behalf of CSI CRC Council, I extend my gratitude to Mr. Shubhamoy Roy for taking out time from his busy schedule to grace the event and educate all the students about the secrets of pen testing, ethical hacking, and cybersecurity. The session was definitely eye-opening to all the budding engineers out here. The information which you have provided has been of great help to one and all. Also, thanks to all the participants for attending the webinar and interacting with Sir. Requesting all the participants to fill the feedback form that has been forwarded in the WhatsApp group. Kindly note that e-certificates will be provided only on the basis of the feedback attendance. Thank you everyone. Stay safe. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Concluding the session over here, and in future, if every one of you agree, then we can conduct further webinars as well. Thank you, guys. That is it. And if you need any further help, do contact cybersecurity. Bye, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay happy.